Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. I am your humble French tarot reader and deck goblin Marie. And today we'll be chatting about what are the decks, tarot and oracle decks that have been on my desk for the last months, what I've been using throughout May 2026, whether that's reading for myself, reading for friends, whether that was deck study, decks I use at night for meditation and contemplation, decks I use for divination. We'll talk about it all. As per usual, there's a lot. If you don't know, I'm a chaotic deck goblin, so there's a lot of them. We have mass market decks, we have indie decks. In the description box, I'll make sure to leave all the names of the decks I'm mentioning today so that you can find them a little bit easier. And down there is also where you'll find the link to my second channel, the Waves of Your Soul readings. That's where I read the cards for you guys, where I do pick up pile readings, monthly guidance, and where I actually put these decks to good use. So definitely go and subscribe over there as well if you want to see any of these decks in action. How is everybody doing? First of all, I hope everyone had a good month of May. Happy Gemini season to all of my Geminis. We have just entered Gemini at the time of me filming, so I hope you guys have a happy, fun birthday season. Had a very productive month of May regarding my tarot practice. I really renewed with my love of pulling the cards and of doing readings this year. Last year, my health really got in the way. Today, we are accompanied by new crystal friends. Sadly, one of my favorite shops here that was selling crystals closed, so I managed to pick a couple of bits before they closed down. And I love this little unicorn. I'm not sure actually what this is. I'm gonna guess it's some kind of like agate, but it's adorable, so I thought it would keep us company for today. So let's get into it. First of all, for divination and very practical day-to-day reading, I wanted to shout out this oracle deck, which is mass market, that I've been using. This was actually sent to me by my lovely friend in her epic parcel that I opened on the channel. If you haven't seen it, I'll leave it in the cards. I was sent this really cool parcel full of decks I didn't know were gonna be in there, and amongst that was this little French mass market gem, which I'd never really seen before. It's called L'Oracle des Abysses, literally the Abyss Oracle by l'Univers d'Annabelle, illustrated by Laura Stone Art. And I did not expect, here are the backs by the way, and we have blue edges. Did not expect that this was going to be such a fantastic deck for divination and fortune telling, but you guys, this slaps, okay? Every time this month, I've had a question, whether for myself, for someone I know, where they needed a very clear, concise answer. This is awesome. It has a really good guidebook in the sense that it splits things between relationship, work, spirituality, I think. Let me check. Chunky guidebook, as you can see. Yeah, we have your message here. You have messages from the abyss, which is your general key, general guidance message. But then you have work messages, like relationship and spiritual message. So it really breaks it down and into different categories. And then at the end, you have a mantra. I have pulled this deck every single time my friend asks me a quick question, can you pull a quick card on this? Or for myself, when I had quick questions about day-to-day things, like, I don't know, a doctor appointment I was supposed to go to that I was a little bit reticent about because it was a replacement doctor. So I was like, how is it gonna go? I asked about a parcel of mine that wasn't delivering that potentially had gotten lost, day-to-day normal shit. And this really answered so well. It's not necessarily my favorite art style in the sense that you guys know I love color. It's ocean themed. I do have a soft spot for that. There's a lot of references to creatures of the ocean, animals. This has been awesome in order to get straight to the core of an issue in terms of sharpshooting, in terms of divination and fortune telling. This is so accurate. I've absolutely loved this. In terms of weekly readings, I've had kind of two big moods, I would say, for day-to-day readings. When I wanted to pull tarot oracle for week ahead spread, months ahead spreads, things like that. There's two main mini edits I've been using in May. The first one actually centers around this particular indie deck that I've had for a while, but I hadn't been using, and it's the Austrasian Tarot by Maisel. I had picked this up on Artisan Tarot months ago, I can't remember whenever this came out, 2025. So I picked it up whenever it came out because I think Artisan Tarot had it straight away. I just never used it at the time because I don't know, I wasn't in the pip mood, I guess. But this month I really felt called to work with it, and I'm so glad I did because it's really awesome. It's inspired by Titans, so the gods before the gods in Greek mythology. Here are the backs, and like I said, this is a Pip style deck, which is so stunning. We have really interesting cardstock. It's very bendy, and it has like, I don't know if you can see, the back is not really white. It's more so beige, but there's no texture. It's just the color. It looks a little beige and not fully white, but I love it. It gives this a more antique feel, even though it's obviously a newer deck. So I really like the art style. First of all, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. This is a very renamed deck in accordance to the Titans, so the gods before the gods, like the fathers and mothers of the Greek gods, of the Greek pantheon. So instead of judgment, you have resurrection. All of the court cards have been renamed as well. Instead, the star is still called the star, but it features Asterion. For the hermit, we have reflection, which is Mnemosyne, so the titaness of memory, or like the representation, incarnation of memory. For like I said, court cards, we have renamings as well. Strength features Cybele, which is probably one of my favorite goddesses of all time. I've had this whole like TED talk on my Instagram stories about this particular goddess. If you guys don't know about Cybele, I don't know how you guys say that in English, by the way. Cybele, I don't know how you say it in English. In French, we say Cybele. Definitely have a look online, do your research about Cybele. She is one of the eldest mother goddess when it comes to Europe, when it comes to specifically like matriarch kind of goddesses. She was revered all across Europe, from Turkey to France to Germany, and her cult has been kind of forgotten and erased by the patriarchy. Yet she is a super interesting goddess, not just of women, but of gender bending people, non-binary folks, queer folks. Search at Cybele if you've never done so. She's a very interesting divinity, deity, and awesome. I love her. Anyway, so as soon as I saw that she was trans, I loved that, obviously. For order, we have Métis, and as I was saying, so court cards have been renamed. So we have Messenger of the East for Cup, so Cup Star East. I can't remember what the other renamings are, but like instead of swords, you have West. But you know, even I, who normally, you guys know, is a huge like dum-dum when it comes to renamings and who really struggles with that, I've actually found using this deck extremely intuitive, because the symbolism is on there. So even if I don't know what Glory of the East is, I look at here and it's like, okay, she has a cup, she looks like a queen, she's on the throne, Queen of Cups, right? Same here. Pride of the West, even if I don't know Pride of the West, who that is, looks like a queen, she has a sword, Queen of Swords. So it I found actually this deck to be extremely intuitive, extremely profound. Instead of the Fool, we have the Passage. Some of the majors haven't been renamed, but every major features a titan. So obviously for love, you have Aphrodite here. Technically on paper, this deck is nothing I should get along with, in the sense of it's pips, and you guys might know my preferred system is the RWS. Definitely a lot of renamings. It has a lot of symbolism, it has a lot of lore, but because it's Greek mythology, and which is something I absolutely adore, I found that I've connected with this deck so well. And like I said, I've had this for a while and I never really felt the need to, or like the call to pick it up. But this month I've picked it up and we've been running ever since. It's an extremely channeled, potent deck. I have used this for myself. I've used this for friends. I have found it can do it all, but it comes with a very wise voice. So this is one that I take very seriously when it comes to what it has to tell me. You know, it just feels like it has this very potent old voice that you don't want to mess with. Like the Titans, the old gods, the gods before the gods, they come through in this deck very strongly. It has a very strong ancestral kind of voice that you just do not want to mess with, honestly. It also comes with a great guidebook. Like I said, each of the majors, you have the explanation as to who's on the card or what is on the card, what's represented. So for example, for the world, you have the Omphalos representing the navel of the world with Atlas, and it tells you a little bit about that. For the minors, you have a bit about numerology for each of the numbers. It links it to major arcana cards, and then you have some keywords for each of the cards. So not the biggest guidebook, but one I have found really leaning into at first, especially to understand like the majors, who was represented, and also to understand the court renamings. And after reading the guidebook, like I said, it all made sense. And I have found actually that it was quite easy to read with. Surprisingly, I'm really surprised at how easy this was to pick up for me, as technically on paper, this is something I really should have struggled with. So really, really loved my time with the Australian Tarot. And because this tarot deck is very rich itself, I didn't feel the need to pull like so many oracle decks to work with it. Sometimes tarot decks I'm very happy to do massive edits around and to, use a lot of decks with. But sometimes if they're very rich like this one, I feel like they suffice to themselves. I feel like they're strong enough on their own to just shine. And so because this one has so much lore, so much mythology behind it, because it's a system I'm not the necessarily most comfortable with, there was renamings and everything, I kind of used it on its own. But the few times where I did want to add a little like clarification oracle card, this is the one I used. It's the Sacred Symbol in Marcella Kroll. This is by Sterling Ethos. This is mass market. It used to be indie, it's now mass market. And this is the deck I use every Tarot de Marseille, every pip deck, every like historical looking kind of deck. I usually bring out this one. I found that it's an amazing clarifier for these kinds of deck because of the very minimal type of art style. It does a great job at just clarifying the message. But again, I kind of mostly use this on its own. But if you're looking for a deck that pairs well with your Tarot de Marseille, with your pip decks, things like that, I find that this kind of goes with everything. Another mini edit I've been using for myself quite a bit in the months of May are actually new addition to my collection. I backed this on Kickstarter and it took a really long time to arrive, but when I backed this, I picked this up at the same time. And these are two indie decks by Nikki Ferrada. This has been out for a while. This came out, I don't know when the Kickstarter was, last year, but I know a lot of peeps have done walkthroughs of this. I know that if you're curious about it, I won't spend too long sharing this with you guys because I definitely was one of the last ones to get my copy, and I know there's so many reviews of this online. But the Shadows We Cast is truly an amazing, beautiful deck that I've really loved using for myself. The one thing I'm not a huge fan of those backs, I'm not gonna lie. They're fine, but they just, I don't know, the art style is so like amazing in the front that I think I would have almost preferred simpler backs, maybe less little symbols. I don't know, just details. So I love the matte edges though, and honestly the fronts are, I mean, this is incredible. This has been such a powerhouse to read with for myself. I know that this is tailored to be a shadow work deck technically because the art style, the even the theme, Shadows We Cast, it's kind of meant to be used as a shadow work deck. To me, I used it as an everyday deck. I used it for month ahead spread, I used it for week ahead spread, I used it for still pulling from the book of spreads from Lida Pavlova, the Library of Questions, I think it's called, and doing like pulled from that. I love this deck. I think it's great for everything. I don't really feel the shadow kind of vibe from this. I definitely have decks that feel a lot more geared towards shadow work, in the sense that they might, prickle at things that hurt and that I don't want to look at. This feels like just an awesome RWS inspired fantasy deck in a beautiful art style that is so stunning and so ethereal and magical and beautiful that I've really, really loved my time with it. I think the Sun card, which we've already passed, is one of the most interesting Sun cards I've seen in a really long time. And I love the Sun card anyway. It's a gorgeous deck. I know that Nikki's decks are very popular, especially her first Starseeker Tarot, which I was always debating getting, but as soon as I saw this particular one, I was like, oh yeah, this is so me, right? It feels a lot more my taste than her first deck because it's a lot more fantasy inspired, I think, and there's this really cool, magical, almost witchy quality to it, which is So awesome. Look at the Six of Wands. I think that's one of my favorite cards. Reminds me of a lot of books. I love dragon themed books and fantasy books. It's just really, really cool. Let's look at a couple more. We need to find another one of my favorite cards. I think the High Priestess is particularly awesome. I love her. This Eight of Wands, you guys. This Eight of Wands, come on, it's so cool. This witch riding a broom. Yeah, this truly taps into my fantasy, like my love of fantasy books, my love of fantasy movies. You know, box, beautiful quality. This feels really nice. It's a rose petal finish. Even the box, the cards, beautiful quality, and the text does explain to you the art style and the choices that were made. So if you're struggling to understand, as this is definitely not a traditional deck, right? If you're struggling to understand what's on the card, you have all the explanation here. Nikki tells you exactly her artistic choices, which I think are... Time as I picked this up, I made the most of my Kickstarter experience and picked up this particular deck by Nikki, which was a little bit older. I think this was from 2024 or 2023. I don't remember. I've put this back in order because I'm gonna do a little bit of a deck study and create spreads around this deck, but I'm sure a lot of you again will have seen this. It's divided into different categories. First of all, the purple, come on, beautiful backs, beautiful edges. I love this, and I've obviously been using these two in conjunctions. They go amazing together. Like I said, I've put it back in order because I want to do a little spread exercise, but you have different families, 64 cards. So the first category, I think she calls Wheels of Life, which are emotions, things we might go through, such as patience, intuitions. These are our feelings or moments that we might go through, and so that's the first category. Love this Fury card. Really beautiful deck. You have some light and some shadow here, which is awesome. The second, I love this Amen's card as well. So beautiful. The second category is your guides. I think there's 12 guides, and you can see because they've got purple edges. So these are more archetypal energy. You have the team, the mask one, inner child, etc., etc. These are definitely archetypes that you might embody, that the person you're reading for might embody. So I have separated this because, like I said, I want to do a spread around that. But I love the art style from Nikki. It's beautiful, and it is a joy to use with the shadows we cast. It's also a joy to use this one with the Honey and Lavender Tarot, which you guys might know I have been really loving as well. And the last ones are gifts. They're like little affirmation cards. I kind of tend to put those out because it throws me off to see writings on the card when I'm looking at images, but you do you, boo, obviously. So this has been a joy to use. Again, really good guidebook here. You have for each of the card full page, keyword, upward, reverse. You have explanation as to what's on the card, some messages, and you've got some spread in there. These are really awesome indie creations. I really recommend them if you guys are attracted to the artwork. There's so much you can do with this. Let's talk about my nighttime routine. These are decks I've used only at night. I kind of use different decks daytime and nighttime because my daytime pulling cards are usually a lot more around either I'm doing weekly spreads, I'm doing spreads around, I don't know, creativity, career, divination. I could be doing readings for friends or other people. There's gonna be, they feel a lot more active, if that makes sense. At night, I'm journaling, and so I'm reading more around meditation, contemplation, tapping into my intuition. So I really don't have the same practice in the day and at night. So the main deck I've been using at night for my meditation, contemplation, almost like spiritual practice, has been the Altered Tarot. It's an indie deck I've gotten earlier in the year, and it took me a while to come back to you guys and tell you about it because this feels so personal to me, this deck. I needed time to kind of connect with it in my own way and spend time with it away from the rest of the world, because I don't know, it just felt really special and quite potent. So I needed to really focus on spending time with it, which I've done for the last few weeks, even couple of months at this point, because I think I got this in March. Here are the beautiful backs. We have matte black edging, and this is a photography deck. It is a deck that only focuses on black and white photography. There are some colors in there, but very few. And it's only nature. There's no humans here. And it is a very liminal deck. It's a very profound deck. And it has been a deck that has completely moved me to and pushed me in my deepest feelings in a way that I did not expect. This is a very special deck. It's a very potent deck. It's a deck that asks you to sit and contemplate and meditate and pause and has a very unique voice. And I'm starting to see a lot more people talk about it now, which is awesome. I'm glad it's getting traction. And everyone I've seen who uses this deck has very profound readings with it because it's so unique, right? It really feels special, this one. There's something quite channeled yet raw. When you use this deck, you connect to the land, you connect to these liminal spaces. I particularly for myself have felt some energies around Persephone and Hecate come through with this deck because of this liminal phase of like the underworld, of the descent. For me, this is a deck for the descent, right? It's a deck for going deep, for going through the soil and digging deep to what's down there. It's a deck to be used at night, right? It feels like it was all the pictures have been taken at night or at dusk. And it's a deck that, whilst it's very dark in aesthetic, like I said, very few cards of colors. We have mostly black and white images. It is such a hopeful deck, a beautiful deck. It's not a deck of despair or anything like that. It's actually very kind, very hopeful, but extremely profound. It has been for me my main deck in terms of my spiritual practice, connecting with non-human beings, whether that's the land, ancestors of the land, whether that's animals, whether that's deities, whether that's spirit source, God, the universe, whatever you guys want to call it. This feels very witchy. This feels very rooted in ancient wisdom. And this is really, really special and awesome, you guys. if you've been hesitating with this one, I would absolutely recommend it because, like I said, I've spoken to a few people now who've gotten this deck after seeing it on my channel, and every single one of them said, wow, like we don't have the same experiences with them. In the sense of some people use it for grief, some people use it for, we tap into different things with this one, as we should, right? Everyone is different, but every single person who picked this up has had incredibly profound reading. Like this is the kind of deck that is going to go deep and it's going to transform you and transform your practice in one way or another. And for that reason, I'm so grateful to these creators. It's extremely special, very, very special. It comes with an awesome guidebook, by the way. Each of the cards, you have upward and reverse meaning, and you have poems, which you guys know I love. I love poems, and we have poems for majors and minors, which is awesome. So really, really special deck. Forced me to pause and reconnect with the great web of life in a way that I'm so grateful for. When I've been using this deck, again, it's kind of one that I'm using on its own, and that doesn't necessarily require a buddy, right? It shines on its own. But there is one oracle deck that I've really loved using with it, and it's the Oracle de la Nature Sacrée. This is a mass market deck. My mom had gifted this to me a few years ago, and this is one I don't use enough, or at least I didn't use enough. And when I started to pull this with the Altered Tarot, I was like, oh, it just makes sense. Here are the backs of the Oracle deck. It's a photography deck again, and I know it's not the same tones in like the black and white, but the vibes are immaculate. So it's not so much about look, although obviously, black and white and almost sepia and white kind of goes, in my opinion, but it's more so about the energy. I mean, this particular deck, the Nature Sacrée, Oracle de la Nature Sacrée, which, by the way, you guys can get this in English, the Oracle of Sacred Nature, I think it's called in English. On every single card, you see we have a human who's been covered in plants, and then you have the name of the plant and a keyword. So for Datura, we have portal. And this is a very beautiful very special, again, oracle deck that I was using extremely sparingly because the messages in the guidebook, again, felt so profound that it was a kind of medicine that was like, ooh, I don't know if I need this all the time. It's a little bit intense, right? This deck. I loved it. I would never part with it. Like I said, my mom got it for me. She intuitively chose it, and she loves plants. She has beautiful garden, and so she has like this for me holds her energy, so I would never part with it. But it feels quite intense in the messages it was giving me, and yet paired with this, they just go. Right? It gives beautiful healing messages, wisdom from the earth, wisdom from the land, wisdom from the non-human beings that surround us, wisdom from spirit source, the universe, the great goddess, God, whatever you guys want to call it. Just connecting to something higher than ourselves, tapping into something bigger than us. These decks have been amazing for that. And like I said, they've been like, for me, nighttime pulls, just incredibly profound to reconnect with my spiritual practice. On my bedside table that I've used consistently at nighttime, we have the Dirt Gem Oracle, which is a mass market deck, and we have the Wild Chorus Oracle, which is an indie deck. This one, I've pretty much, I think I've talked about this deck in every single video since I've gotten this. So I won't go too much into it. If you watch my channel, you've seen this before. It's by Abacus Corvus. I got my copy from my friend Cassie from A Refall in Time, who has an awesome shop based in the US, and she stores super cool indie decks. The link to A Refall in Time down below, because it's thanks to Cassie that I discovered this particular deck. Here are the backs. It's more oracle size. We don't have any edges, and this is a nature-based oracle deck, which has completely blown me away, which has torn my heart apart and then stitched it back together in a way that I didn't think possible. This is earth medicine. It's profound, it's healing, it's very emotionally intelligent. It talks about grief, it talks about sacred rage, it talks about anti-capitalism, it talks about reclaiming your body, reclaiming your time, it talks about decolonizing your practice, it talks about all the things that are important to me of what matters in terms of connecting to nature. And I don't see myself I could not call myself spiritual without doing the work of what this deck requires, which is around decentering the human experience and focusing on connecting to something larger than you, but also connecting to non-human beings and spirits. This deck is very much about that. And if if you've read Braiding Sweetgrass, if you've read I don't know, if you've used the Gaian Tarot and the Gentle Tarot, if you like these kinds of decks, right, which are very much about reconnecting to the earth and animals in a way that feels profound and in a way that feels like listening to their wisdom and their medicine, this is incredible. I'm so grateful Cassie put this on my radar. Even the fact that I could get it from Cassie's shop makes me so happy, because she's one of my close friends here on this space, and I think the art style is absolutely stunning. This is the kind of deck that made me cry multiple times. I've pulled cards for friends who cried multiple times. It's extremely special. So you guys know this is going to be in my best decks of the year. I can't shut up about it. The guidebook is incredible. There's just something about the way that this is written. I'll let you pause if you want to read, for example, this one. You've got some keywords and you've got some incredibly healing and profound messages here, which just feel like it speaks directly to your soul. There's no better way for me to say this. It's really, really special. And I only pull one card with this. It's more than enough for me, but I'm so grateful that this exists, because it's brought me so much healing, guidance, and connection to the great web of life. And last on my bedside table was the Dirt Gems, and I actually pull from this deck every single day. I pulled one plant. So this was both a card pull exercise and a deck study exercise, because what I've done, and I'm not going to show you guys my journal because it's, there's personal stuff in here, but what I did was I pulled a card every single day, and then I journaled about, and I would do this at night, so the day already happened. And that's something I've developed over the years is I find card pulls a lot more, if I'm doing one card pull, I find it a lot more useful for me to do at night and to reflect on my day than to do it in the morning. Because when in the morning, I'm not fully awake, you guys. I'm dealing with chronic pain, brain fog. I need to eat, otherwise I'm gonna faint. Sometimes my body's like, I literally cannot even hold my pen together in the morning. So morning card pulls are not for me. They don't work. Plus, if I'm pulling a card that's telling me I'm gonna have a hard day, then that's gonna throw me off. And over the years, I've just realized I'm not a morning card pull kind of girly. It's just not my thing. I don't like it. But pulling a card at night, here are the backs, by the way. This is mass market, if I didn't say it. Comes with matte golden edges, which is awesome. And I've shuffled this deck, shuffled it all month, and it's holding really well. So I'm happy. I pulled one card a day because I really wanted to get to know this deck much better. I felt like I had scratched the surface only. So I really recommend it if you guys are wanting to get to know an Oracle deck better or a Tarot deck, but I think it works really well for Oracle, especially because this one has a lot of cards, 65 cards. So I would pull one card every single day and I would journal about what the guidebook has to say, which the guidebook is incredible and we'll go into it, but I would also reflect on how it tapped with the day I just had. And 99% of the time, it was resonant with the day I've had. So, for example, Arnica, I pulled at a day where I finally could get an appointment of like seeing my facial therapist after many days of struggling with a big flare-up, and because we've had a ton of bank holidays here in Réunion Island and in France. It was really hard for me to be seen by my usual medical team because everyone was off. So the day I finally could get seen, I pulled this card, and this card is all about healing. So, made sense. And so many kind of like synchronicities with this deck of like pulling the card at night, reflecting on it, and seeing the connection. There's so much synchronicity there that felt really profound. What I loved doing with this one was not just pulling cards and journaling about my day, but was mostly reading the guidebook. You guys, if you don't have this deck and you're looking for, again, a healing guidebook that is going to be very trauma informed, very psychological in essence, and very beautifully written, this is it. In my opinion, one of the best, maybe the best plant deck you can get mass market. Not for the necessarily magical association of the plant or how to plant the plant, because this is not about that. This is about the spirit of the plant, and it's about how to connect with that spirit, with that essence, but it does so in a way that feels very, again, incredibly humble, decentering the human experience and letting yourself connect with, I love this, it's one of my favorite cards, decentering yourself and reconnecting to the great web of life. Can you see a theme? You guys know, it's very my vibe. So the guidebook is incredible. The words by Anne-Louise Burdett are amazing. This is one of my favorite guidebooks I've ever read, to be honest. I've had such a good time. All of the cards have one page, but the way this is written, again, it's profound, it's healing. I'll pause so you guys can read it. All of the plants have a key phrase as well. So for lavender, we have the sensuous sifter. And then this is just, it's I don't know, it just feels incredibly touching, healing, psychological. Like I said, I'd had it for a while. I just had never committed to using it consistently like this, and I loved it. So I'm actually going to continue in the month of June to pull a card every day. Okay, let's talk about reading for others. I haven't opened my books yet because I've been dealing with a lot of chronic pain still this month, and because this month was full of bank holidays, like I said, it was impossible to be seen by my regular medical team. So every time I had an injury or was dealing with a bad flare-up, I couldn't be seen for a few days, sometimes even weeks at a time. So it really thrown off my health. So I wasn't able to reopen my books the way I wanted to, but I still read for other people, friends of friends. People know you read the cards, you just always get people asking you for readings, which is fine. I love it. So for reading for others, two main decks. I have loved using the Luminous Flow Tarot by Essany, and I loved using the Floating World Tarot, which is a mass market deck that was given to me by a lovely lady. We did a trade. So let's start with this. I think this is an awesome mass market gem. It's inspired by Japanese art, and I have really enjoyed reading with it. Here are the backs, which might be my favorite backs I've seen in a really long time when it comes to mass market decks. I love these backs. I don't know, you guys, how to edge this deck, because this deck is begging to be edged because there's no borders. It's full color, so I want to edge it, but I don't know what color. Should I edge it in yellow? Should I edge it, find like a what is that, turquoise color? What do you think? Should I find some kind of like yellow like this? I really want to edge it. I don't know which color, so let me know in the comments what you think. Flowing World Tarot is an awesome mass market gem which is inspired by Japanese spiritualism. I love the art style. It's sweet. And yet, this is a Queen of Swords. It goes much deeper than I expected. When I was given this deck in this trade I did a few months back, I fully thought, oh, this is going to be a sweet RWS inspired deck. Cool art style, really cool, colorful, looks really interesting and creative and fun. Oh, this one goes deep, you guys. I wasn't expecting this one to go so deep, because look at these little bunny ears, right? You're like, oh, they can't, this deck will not go that deep. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by the bunny ears. This can go deep, and especially when I read it for myself. I've noticed picking it up for other people, it's kinder, I will say, in the sense that it will put on some velvet gloves. You know that saying, like iron fist in a velvet glove? This is it. With other people, they get the velvet glove. With myself, I don't get the velvet glove. I get just the iron fist punched in my face. And you know what? I'm here for it. This deck will not bullshit you. It's not gonna be one of those decks that's gonna be like talking to you for hours and hours. You know, some decks, they take you round and round and round and they want to chat. This one is like, here's what you need to know. Okay, see you later, bye. It's very direct and straight to the point. 3 cards, 4 cards, bam, thank you ma'am, see you later, here's your answer, and off you go. Really have loved reading with this though, especially like I said for others, because it's very clear, but for others it's again a lot kinder than it is for me. So I've kind of started to use it a lot more for other people, and especially for like career reading. I've done career reading with this, I've done like creative kinds of readings with this, and it's been awesome. So I love this one. Definitely will continue to pull it out in my rotation reading for others and for myself when I want to get bitch slapped. My other main deck reading for others has been the Luminous Flow Tarot by Ethany. This is an indie deck. It was actually sent to me for review. I've done a full dedicated video on this deck. I'll leave it in the cards. It feels very kind and non-threatening and yet really beautiful. So here are the backs, beautiful backs. I love the butterflies. I love the inlay of metallic. We have matte blue edges, and this has been a deck I've used, like I said, consistently for other people. There was actually my friend's birthday this month, and he was doing a picnic with lots of his friends, family members, so there were a lot of people there, and he had asked me if I could read the cards there for like little fun activity in the day. And so this is a deck I actually took out with me. So I've I don't know how many people I read for at this party, maybe 15-20 people, just 3 card pulls, little pulls, nothing too serious. Obviously you're at a party. 3 card pulls, past, present, future advice kind of vibe. This was great. I used this for all the people there that wanted a reading, and it was really fun. It's beautiful. Everyone enjoyed it. Everyone felt like, even people who had never had their cards read love this, because it feels, like I said, extremely beautiful, non-threatening. There's nothing here that's gonna make them, grab their pearl and be like, oh my god, tarot is Satan. This feels very kind. You have all sorts of people here, people of color. You have different body types, and obviously, if I'm reading for others, I'm going somewhere where there might be lots of different ages and kinds of people. I like to bring a deck that feels very diverse, and this one I think has beautiful representations of all kinds of people. So everyone I read with loved that as well. The colors are gorgeous. It looked beautiful spread out, and yeah, it was really nice. Like I had a great time. My friend was super grateful. The last couple of decks I wanted to shout out in terms of what I used in May and had a specific practice built around has been the Lacrimosa Tarot by Rose Bay, and I've used this in conjunction with the Oracle de Vinci. This is a mass market French deck, print on demand on MPC. You will know this one. This is actually one that I had gotten. Another one that's begging for edging, by the way. This duo, here are the backs of the mass market Oracle deck. And we have golden edges, very glossy. The one thing, I wish this was matte. I think it would have looked so much better matte. These decks together are a match made in heaven. They both are using this Renaissance style paintings. Rose Bay's one, specifically the Lacrimosa, kind of zooms in on little details, whereas the Oracle deck, l'Oracle da Vinci, is only using, as the name suggests, Leonardo da Vinci's art style. We have 3 keywords on each of the card. Obviously, it's in French because it's a French mass market deck. This is specifically normally dedicated to career reading. I don't use it this way. So these peeps, actually, this duet has been, is more known for their Dis-moi que tu m'aimes or Tell Me You Love Me Oracle deck, which has been translated in English and is now available mass market in English. This one, the Da Vinci Oracle, is not yet available mass market in English, but I have an inkling it might get picked up because they picked the first one already in English. And that was super popular. So I don't see why they wouldn't pick up this one as well. Out of the two, prefer this one. I didn't end up picking up the love oracle that they have because I don't love doing love readings. It's not my favorite thing. This one, because it was more geared toward career, I thought it would be really interesting, and yet I haven't really used it for career in the end because the keywords are so open. You can use this for pretty much anything, and what I've actually ended up using mine for has been for past lives. So I've used these two together for past life readings all months of May because I've actually been practicing my past life readings. It's not something like I really like doing them, but it's not the kinds of readings that I was feeling the most confident to do, and yet I really love doing them. Like, I find a lot of enjoyment. So I wanted to practice. Like, these two together are amazing. And again, whilst this is normally like the guidebook, if you go into the guidebook for this one, the messages will be really tailored around career and life purpose. The keywords feel a lot more open than that. Actually, something you could use both ways, to be honest. This is a very versatile oracle deck. And the Lacrimosa Tarot, I just adore. It's extremely beautiful. When this was released by Rose Bay, I immediately purchased it because I adore what she does and I always want to support her work, but I hadn't connected with it back then. This year, though, the Lacrimosa and I are like this. I love this deck so much. I've been using it non-stop. Again, it's a deck that takes me places. It feels very spiritual. I would not pick this up for day-to-day readings. So far, it's only been for things a little bit more profound, like spiritual readings, life path readings, past life readings, things of that sort. This shines for that. There's something quite pious and sacred about the Lacrimosa Tarot that really touches my soul and takes me places and allows me to channel messages in a way that feels fluid and effortless. I will definitely continue to be using them throughout June because this is a whole vibe. Let's talk about some new arrivals in the month of May that you guys haven't seen yet. Of course, we had the Starseeker and Shadows with Cast. Actually, this arrived end of April, so I used them throughout May. Some new arrivals, though, that arrived towards the middle of May that I haven't shared on my channel yet, but I have shared them on Instagram. So if you guys are on Instagram, you've already gotten sneak peeks of them. The first one that I'm so pumped about, oh my god, you guys, this has been amazing. It's the Tarot de la Vallée du Vent. This is a Ghibli-inspired tarot deck. It was created by a French creator, Joanna, who goes as Daliaxi on Instagram. She created this deck as a fan-made project of the Ghibli movies, and I had pre-ordered this deck when Joanna put them up on her Instagram, and it arrived to me mid-May. I already know people are gonna go crazy for this, so I'm gonna leave. So before I show you the cards, so let me tell you, at the time of me filming, which is toward the end of May, Joanna had about 20 decks left I will leave her Instagram down below in the description box. I don't know if there will still be things. She ships internationally if you guys are willing to pay for the shipping internationally, obviously. Whether she'll still have copies, but I'll leave the Instagram, her Instagram down below. You can send her a message. The deck comes, so you have a certificate of authenticity and you have a guidebook with a QR code, which I won't show you to not spoil her work. So she has made a whole guidebook with this. We had some extra cards. So we had some extra King of Pentacles, King of Cups, extra Sun card. There's an happy squirrel card. There's a yes and no card. We had an extra Knight of Swords, an extra Queen of Pentacles, Three of Cups, and Tower. So these are the one I didn't choose to include. And you guys might know if you watch my channel from the beginning, I've been saying for years that we need some Ghibli inspired deck. I've been saying that for years. I was like, why do we get decks about the most stupid themes that nobody asks for and we don't have a Studio Ghibli deck? Well, Joanna has made my deck Goblin Dreams come true. I am obsessed with this deck. Everything I could ever ask for when it comes to a Studio Ghibli deck. You can tell Joanna has done an incredible job at pulling from different movies, different characters, different storylines, and yet they all match the archetype of the tarot. So Princess Mononoke for the lovers, we have obviously Gigi and Kiki for the Ace of Pentacles. Like, everything is so smart. Everything is so smart. And of course, it's beautiful. I mean, look at this star card, you guys. I could cry. I was so happy when I got my hands on it. The cardstock is beautiful. It's matte, rose petal, really, really good quality. This is such a joy. This is honestly one of my most anticipated decks because I had pre-ordered it a while ago and was so pumped to get my hands on it. Again, I will leave the link to Joanna, who goes as Daliaxi, in the description box where you can get this. I don't know how many she'll have left. I don't know if she'll reprint. This is amazing. My dreams come true, you guys. I love this so much. And I'm so happy that this is made by a fellow Studio Ghibli fan. I'm so happy that it was made by a French person as well. That makes me extremely happy. I think she's done an amazing job. And she can be so proud of herself because this is so good. When it comes to fan-made decks, you know, this is absolutely up there for me now in my collection. I love it. Tarot de la Vallée du Vent. If you guys type this, you will find a ton of reviews on French TarotTube because this was very popular with my fellow French tarot tubers for good reason because it's incredible. And here are the backs. If I didn't share them with you, yeah. I'm going to continue using it in June. So we'll talk about it. Look at this test card, you guys. I can't. Ten of Swords. Amazing. The Ace of Cups. I mean, come on. Temperance. Love. Two of Swords. Four of Swords. One of my favorite cards of the deck. The Empress. Eight of Wands. Again. We see Kiki. Les deux coupes. So Page of Cups. Five of Wands. Let's see. Five of Swords. Two of Cups, Ace of Wands, the Devil is incredible, the Sun, the Knight of Pentacles. I mean, come on, right? It's perfect. She's perfect for the Knight of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles, and last one, the Knight of Wands. This is making me want to rewatch all of them. I'm actually starting a rewatch of the Studio Ghibli movies this weekend. In the month of May, I received a little order I did from Salon des Arcanes with two decks. I had ordered the Future Ancestor Tarot and the Kamena Tarot. This one I haven't used and I don't plan on using anytime soon. It just made sense for me to pick them up at the same time to make the most of shipping. So when I do use it, I'll come back and share it with you guys. But the deck I got from Salon des Arcanes that I have been using consistently since I've gotten it in May has been the Kamena Tarot, and this has been a journaling deck. I've talked about it in my VR to Rachel, the Tarot Shelf Superstar, so I'll leave that in the cards if you haven't seen it. This is a majors only deck. Originally, when it was on Kickstarter, I hadn't purchased it or backed it. I was like, majors only, I'm not going to use it. It was a little bit expensive for majors only. I was like, it's okay, you know, it's beautiful, but I'm not going to use it. Huge mistake. This is incredible, and I'm so glad I actually decided to pick it up once Nico was stocking it on Salon des Arcanes, because this is incredible, you guys. This is amazing. Here are the backs of the cards. Have you seen the box open like this? Written by Laetitia Barbier, who is a very famous French occultist, and it was illustrated by Lou Benesch, who is incredibly talented. So dream team right here. The guidebook is amazing. I've been referring to it a lot because I love Laetitia's knowledge and writing. But this doesn't just give you the meaning of the card, but it tells you how to bond with the deck. It tells you how to journal with the decks. You have questions, you have spreads. This might seem small, but there is so much into this incredible guidebook. I've read it cover to cover a few times because I've been working with this deck quite extensively. It's majors only. We do have 4 extra cards though. These 4, which are the Kamenas, spirits of the water in Greek mythology. So for the Kamenas, we have the flood, the bewitching water, the healing water, and the fertile water. So they're like 4 spirits of waters representing different facets of the water, of that element, and so they are the reason why this deck is called the Kamenas. I haven't really worked with these, although there's a whole spread that focuses on them that sounds really interesting that I'm going to try at some point because I've seen that it looks really cool. What I have used this deck for though is pulling 1 card a day and journaling about it to reacquaint myself with more Marseille inspired major arcana and to really just enjoy the art style but also draw inspiration from just this beautiful creation. I was inspired to do this after seeing a video from Ashla Estrella, who did a video on the Tarot de Marseille. But she's an artist. She created the Estrella Tarot, the Estrella Lenormand, and I've actually done an order from her shop not long ago, so I'll share with you more of her decks in a future haul when they arrive. But anyway, I'll leave the link to her video down below. She did a video on how she was pulling a major from Tarot de Marseille every single day and journaling about it and writing things around how this major kind of showed up in her day. And I was super inspired to do this with this deck, which had arrived around the same time that I watched it. I was like, well, this is perfect because I was like, I adore the art style of this. It's absolutely incredible. I want to get to know this deck more. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been pulling a card every single day and journaling about that energy, seeing what it brings me, seeing what I get intuitively from the art style, and then reading the guidebook. And it's been incredible. So as you can see, we don't have any titles on the card. We just have a number. So for Judgment here, it's really unique depiction of the Judgment. I love this so much. Here is the Hermit, which is incredibly beautiful. This deck is so beautiful, you guys. I can't believe I almost passed on this because actually this has been such a beautiful deck to read with. I've loved getting to know this. This is a Fool. Like I said, I meditate with it. I just adore the work here of these 2 French ladies who have done an incredible job reimagining the Tarot de Marseille major arcana. I mean, look at this Justice card. It's so good. The Death card is incredible. Yeah, to think I almost passed this on because I was thinking, major only, I'm not going to really use it. I did need it. This is amazing. This is incredible, you guys. It's really, really stunning. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful decks in my collection now, hands down. It joined that top 10 most beautiful deck, hands down. We have the World. I love her so much. The Strength card is gorgeous. The High Priestess. I mean, come on. Another one of my favorite of the deck. And finally, the Hierophant. So good. So good. Absolutely stunning. I, again, picked this up on Nico's shop, Salon des Arcanes. If you were like me, maybe hesitating because it's majors only, the quality of the art style, the quality of the production, what you get in the guidebook, this is such an amazing creation. And I'm personally extremely glad I picked this up because I'm going to use this for years to come. Another newer addition to my collection is this little guy, Tarot Lubbock by Tarotmania. It comes from Switzerland, I think. Let's see, by Tarotmania. It's created by Eugene Vinitsky and Sergei Savchenko. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that. They are the same creators as the Tarot de Marseille of the New Incarnation, which is a fully illustrated Tarot de Marseille, which looks really cool and I might pick up at some point. I don't know. I might, but the shipping prices to me were a little bit much. So future Marine will fork that out. The deck comes with a certificate of authenticity, and this is a really cool farcical kind of deck that has a really unique point of view. I've put it back in order for you guys, but I have used it for the last, I would say 10 days or so. It's at the beginning, it explains a little bit what this was inspired by. As the name suggests, it's inspired by Lubbock, which is a whole cultural kind of movement that is linked to skits, fairground theater, like buffoonery, clownade, harlequinade, peddlers. And so it's linked to these styles of posters that were giving very farcical kind of theatrical interpretations of the time. And so this is the inspiration. So there's a whole like bit in the beginning of the guidebook that explains to you what inspired this deck, this particular Lubbock movement. And the guidebook, by the way, is great. As you can see, we have quite a bit for each of the cards. Even so for the minors, we have at least 2 pages, because with this deck, you kind of need to understand the point of view, as it's quite unique. This, and I've put it back in order for you guys to share it with you, is incredible. I love this so much. I've had such a good time with it, and yet it is destroyed me. I love this hand-drawn art style. I find it extremely beautiful. I find it extremely attractive. And so it's been a joy to read with for that, first of all. Second of all, this deck really has its own sense of humor and its own interpretation, right? It's not your stereotypical deck. You'll see it especially in the minors. It's not your stereotypical RWS. It has a lot of little details that will make you laugh, that will remind you of this farcical buffoonery kind of interpretation. Look, the tower. Some people are running for their life, and these two are over there. At first saw this card, it reminded me of people who, when there's a car crash, they stop to take pictures and post on their Instagram stories, right? Like, that's so wrong. And yet, we've all seen people do that. There's something really farcical, silly, comical about this deck. It's gonna laugh at you, and then it's going to tell you exactly where you're wrong. And so this one has all the readings I've done with it so far hurt me and hurt my feelings. Look at this Ace of Cups. There you go. We're starting to enter farcical land now, and cheeky land. This deck has hurt my feelings for sure, but it's done so in a way that made me laugh. And so the message was actually quite awesome and integrated, because maybe it put the finger on what hurt, but it was done so in a way that was quite funny. And so this has an extremely interesting personality. Look, this person is getting attacked by a bear, and this guy is like, "Ooh, look at the horizon, I'm looking at my ship, where am I gonna go?" Meanwhile, this one is fighting for their life. Wait until we get to the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands, I mean, look at this Three of Swords, first of all. Ouch. Big ouch. We need to find the Four of Wands. Four of Wands. Look at these. Happy times. Meanwhile, they're rounding over there and nobody gives a shit. They're too happy eating and celebrating. And the whole deck is like this. The whole deck is about putting fingers on what hurts, but seen through a lens of hee hee ha ha, let me make you laugh, and still give you that message. I think it's awesome. I think it's super clever. Look at this Five of Swords. These little like devils is cheating, right? So cool. This is extremely well done. It's a little bit folkloric in essence, obviously. The art style is really charming, I think. Just have had the best time reading with this. Look, the Seven of Cups. This guy has had too much wine, and that's why he's seeing all of these things. Like, what an interesting take. Seven of Swords. The cheek, the audacity, the gumption, and the goal. Honestly, I just think this is so cool. Look, this Eight of Wands, probably one of the most interesting Eight of Wands I've seen in a really long time. Napoleon for the Eight of Cups after his failure at invading. I mean, it's just super smart, and I love this Nine of Swords. You can feel the anguish, right? So this deck is quite prickly. 10 of Wands. Oof. Just So good, you guys. It's really, really good. Like I said, it's bitch slapped me quite a few times. This is this is quite prickly. Page of Coins. So engrossed in their books and their planning, they're about to fall in a hole, right? Look. It feels a little bit shadowy, actually, in how it reads. And so would this be a deck I use all the time? I don't think so, because with me anyway, it's been quite cheeky and, a bit rude in its audacity to tell me how I'm fooling myself and how I'm putting my own finger in my eye, But it's excellent as well. So maybe not the kind of deck I would use all the time, but if I know I need some truth and I need this truth said with a little bit of humor, this is so good. That's all the decks I've been using in May. New arrivals, old favorites. There's been a bit of everything. Lots of different ways to practice building my relationship with my cards, and I hope it was fun to see all of that. I have a lot of fun videos planned for you. I have a lot of decks on their way to me, so when they start trickling in, I'll be doing a big epic haul, as I definitely did some damage recently, so big epic haul coming your way soon. I've got some videos around my tarot practice I want to share, getting more in depth about how I use a card, so that's gonna come soon. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you so much good vibes, and till next time, keep navigating the webs of your soul. Bye!